Hi, thank you for joining us. My name is Doug Sharpe. I'm the host of the National Leadership Briefing, and this is the midweek Touchpoint. Now, we have a very, very real problem, and that is that we're growing too fast. We are growing so fast. There's so many people joining the briefing and joining on to Operation Engage that we have a lot of folks that need to be brought up to speed. So we're going to start there at this week's midweek Touchpoint. Now, below the video here, where we sent them out last week, but we got to do it again, is I need the new folks on the briefing to do some things before they get into the midweek touch point, okay? So I need you to go down below this video, and you're going to find these links there. The first link you're going to find is you're going to find the January 2020 National Leadership Briefing. We get together once a month on the National Leadership Briefing, and we spend 1 hour, all of us together, and talking about the things that are important to us and how we can advance these ideas into society, culture, politics, and government. So I need you to understand, have that foundation of understanding as to what it is that we're doing here in 2020 on the National Leadership Briefing. The second thing I want you to make a note of down below this video is you're going to see a link to the really, really important briefing, which was the February 7th, 2020 briefing. So there's the January one you need to review. You also need to review the February one because that is the month that we launched something called Operation Engage, because we saw an opportunity within the political realm for us to exercise our influence, our combined influence, and we're taking full advantage of that. And you need to have the details of what Operation Engage is so that you have a foundation of understanding as to what each of these national midweek touch points are all about. So let me just review also what you're going to find down there. You're going to have to see, there's one other thing, is I want you to watch last week's midweek touch point because there's some great information in there as well. That'll bring you right up to speed as to where you are now in Operation Engage. Now, of course, now you're coming to the all-important question of, Doug, why would I do all of that? Why would I spend my time updating myself on all these things? Well, what's happening here in Canada is really important for you to know as a member of the faith community. Within a political party here in Canada, they are in the process of identifying a new leader of that party. Now, the democratic process in Canada is laid out in such a way that whoever is the leader of a political party could very well become the Prime Minister of Canada. And that individual has a tremendous amount of power and authority to make decisions about what our neighbors' lives look like. If you've seen some of the decisions of government lately, you know that civil government decisions and the power of the Prime Minister can either negatively or positively impact the lives of our neighbor. And if we have an opportunity to influence who that person is, we want to and need to take full advantage of that. So that's why we're getting together now on these midweek touch points, is because we want to make sure we're doing all we can to exercise the maximum amount of influence we can within this democratic process of identifying who's going to lead the Conservative Party of Canada. So this is where we're at right now, but I want you to understand this week some of the numbers that we're dealing with, because I want you to get as excited as I am about where we're at in the process. Okay, first of all, let's take a look at the hard numbers of the Conservative Party of Canada. If you take a look over here, this is the Conservative Party of Canada membership numbers on day one that we started talking about influencing the decision of who is going to become the leader of that party. On day one, there were 200,000 members within that party. Now, on election day, when they cast the ballots to see who's going to become the leader, it's very possible, because of all the interest of the things that are going on about candidates, new candidates coming on, and just the rallying of the people around different candidates. It's quite possible that the membership of the party could grow to as high as 300,000 members. So on E-Day, there is a possible 300,000. Could be less, could be more, but that's a very real possibility. Now, if I'd looked at the previous leadership election of the last leader, we took a look at the number of votes that were actually cast, because everybody that's a member on the day that the election goes on, everybody that's able to vote and eligible to vote during the process will receive in the mail a ballot. Well, do you want to know something crazy about this thing? Is not everybody mails in their ballots. I don't know. I mean, I can't figure it out, man. If somebody gave me an opportunity to vote for who was going to become the leader of a political party and that person could become prime minister, I would definitely mail in my ballot. But the reality is not everybody does. As a matter of fact, as few as 150,000 people could be mailing in their ballots of the potential 300,000 ballots that are out there. So the total number of people that are going to decide who could possibly come the next Prime Minister of Canada is really only 150,000 people. Now, we've got 38 million people in Canada. I know that's kind of a scary thought that only 150,000 people are really going to pick this person, but it's true. Those are the numbers. Now, I want to show you why we're getting so excited here on the National Leadership Briefing and with this Operation Engage is because on day one of the National Leadership Briefing, when all of this came around, when we looked at this and saw this opportunity on the horizon for us to exercise our influence as part of this process, we had over 1,000 individuals and organizations that were already on the briefing. They were people that were meeting with us once a month. We get together for 1 hour once a month, and we talk about how we can raise our influence in society, culture, politics, and government. We're looking for opportunities. That's why we get together. We get together and just meet quickly for an hour, and then we say, look, what are opportunities out there? How can we advance our ideas in these spheres? How can we all work together and use our combined voice to actually have greater influence in these spheres? That's why we get together. Well, on day one, we had 1,000 individuals and organizations. Now, maybe they were individuals who had made commitments to serve their church by providing them information. Maybe it was moms, dads. Maybe it was business owners. Maybe they're organization owners that have a network across the nation with thousands of people in it. We had all sorts of different people on day one. Now, what's interesting about that number, though, is that of the people that they serve or have the potential to influence, we had somebody in our office actually take a look at the numbers and take a look at all of the different people and add up what the potential market was of influence that we could actually penetrate with our information. And on day one, it was over 900,000 people. So one person could maybe look around and say, well, I with the people I know and the friends in the neighborhood and my family and all that, maybe I could probably touch about 200 people. But there are organizations, like I say, that have more, and there's some that have less. But overall, it was over 900,000 people became our potential marketplace. Well, Operation Engage, our goals are very modest. I mean, we're not pie in the sky people here. We're being very realistic, and we're looking at penetrating that market between 10 and 15%. 10 and 15% penetration of getting the message out that we can have influence within this conversation of who will become the next Prime Minister of Canada works out to between 90,000 and 180,000 people are going to be touched with our information. And those are the people that are going to receive the ballots and be able to cast their vote on E-Day and make the decision as to who will become the next leader of the party. So how do we achieve that goal? It's real simple. Every single week between now and the deadline for casting your ballot, we are getting together and we are just taking a look at where we are. We're inviting new people on the calls. We're inviting new people to join us on the briefings and on the midweek touch points. And we're telling them that we're doing this. That's all we're doing. And we're looking for people that share our views and values. Don't go out there and try and sell somebody on your ideas. If somebody already believes that parents should have the right to raise their kids the way they want, then that's somebody that should be on this call. If you already know somebody who requires elected officials to respect their right of freedom of belief and religion, they should be on the call. If you know people that believe it's important that the laws and policies of civil government take care of the vulnerable people within our communities, then they should be on the call. And of course, if you know parents, they are the bedrock, the foundation of who we're talking to out there, because they're really concerned about the amount of debt that's being heaped on the backs of our children and future generations. They should be on the call because we're looking for a candidate who is going to advance those ideas and protect our right of belief and protect our children and the vulnerable on the road ahead. So you invite them onto the call, you invite them to join us once a week, you invite them on the National Leadership Briefing, and we get our ballots and we make our decision on E-Day. Now, we've made it very easy for you to know what it is that we believe in, and you can share information. We've made it very easy for you because we've set up a website called conservativeupdate.com. Conservativeupdate.com has all of the ideas that I just mentioned represented in policy positions and platform planks that we want the candidates to consider as part of the conversation that's going on around this election. And we want to get the maximum number of people out there supporting this initiative so that the candidates can see these are popular ideas. We all want lower debt. We all want the vulnerable protected. We all want our right of belief respected. All of these things are important to us, and we want the candidates to take notice. Well, let's take a look at these numbers again. If you've got 150,000 people that are potentially going to cast ballots, and we get 180,000 people in a room that says these are the things that are our priorities, I can see great influence being exercised as part of this process. But let's take it down to smaller numbers here. Let's take it down to something that's really manageable. How do we get there? Well, we get there by you and I touching base every week on the midweek Touchpoint. We get there by you inviting one person to join us every week between now and the deadline. And all that information is on the website, but it's as simple as you just inviting other people that share your views and values onto the National Leadership Briefing, onto the weekly touch points, and sharing these ideas with people and gathering us all together so we can speak with a unified voice. Now, I'm going to wrap up the midweek touch point right there because this is the week of the National Leadership Briefing. Once a month on the first Friday of every month, in a couple of days from now, we have got a National Leadership Briefing where I'm going to expand on this a little bit more, and we're going to talk about how we can further exercise our influence and increase our influence as part of this process. But I'm going to give you something to do. I want you to, between now, this is 48 hours from now, I want you to go out there and grab as many people as you can and get them to register for this Friday's National Leadership Briefing. The more people we get in a room and the more people we get, the more influence we have. The more influence we have, the more likely that we are going to be of greater influence as to who's going to be the leader of that party and that person represents our views and values. So in the next 48 hours, go get as many people as you can to join us for this Friday's National Leadership Briefing. I'm putting the link below so that you can find a place where you can register yourself and the people that you're bringing along to the briefing. So please don't miss this opportunity to stand with. My goodness, if you ever thought about how can I have more influence in society? Well, I tell you what, grab arms with between 90 and 180,000 people that share your views and values. Take arms, all of us get together, and that's how you increase your influence. So do it with us. Come aboard. Let's do this together because we really can have an impact and on the road ahead. Thanks so much for your time today. Remember, I'll look forward to seeing you in a couple of days on the National Leadership Briefing. Links are below for all the new people. Make sure you watch those briefings below. It's going to make a lot more sense if you go there first. And I look forward to seeing you on the road ahead. In the meantime, God bless you. God bless your family. And may God continue to bless Canada. Bye for now.